September 1944. Above the steaming jungles of Borneo, the morning sun flashes across polished aluminum wings. Major Richard Ira Bong, America's top fighter ace, eases his P38 Lightning into a shallow dive. The twin Allison engines hum with 3,000 combined horsepower. Below him, a swarm of Japanese fighters climbs desperately toward a formation of American B-24 Liberators. They don't know it yet, but death is already circling above them. The unassuming young man from Poplar, Wisconsin, the quiet farm boy who once disobeyed orders for joyriding his plane, now holds the fate of dozens of airmen in his hands. Richard Bong was born in 1920 in a small farmhouse in Poplar, Wisconsin, the eldest of 9 children. His father was a Swedish immigrant, his mother a schoolteacher. Life on the farm was simple: chores at dawn, fields that stretched into the horizon, and the constant sound of wind through the trees. But young Richard was obsessed with something else: the sky. He built model planes from scrap wood, read every aviation magazine he could find, and would stare at passing mail planes as though they were alive. When Charles Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic in 1927, 7-year-old Richard was glued to the radio. He didn't just want to fly, he needed to. When the United States entered World War II, Bong seized his chance. He joined the Army Air Corps and began pilot training in California and Arizona. From the beginning, instructors noticed something different about him. He wasn't the loud, competitive type. He didn't brag, didn't panic, didn't rush. He was just smooth. Every maneuver looked effortless. But behind that calm exterior, Bong had a restless side. During advanced training at Hamilton Field, he flew low over San Francisco Bay, buzzing ships, bridges, and even homes. Once, he dived between buildings so low that laundry whipped off the clotheslines. It should have ended his career, but fate had other plans. General George Kenney, his commanding officer, called him in, furious, ready to ground him permanently. But after watching Bong fly, Kenney changed his mind. "You're reckless," he told him, "but you can fly like nobody I've ever seen." Bong was punished. A week without flying, but then promoted. Kenney knew this man was born for the sky. By 1942, Bong was shipped to New Guinea. The Pacific was unlike anything American pilots had ever faced. A green, sweltering hell filled with malaria, monsoons, and an invisible enemy. Japanese Zero fighters ruled the skies and Allied pilots were dying fast. The P38 Lightning, Bong's aircraft, was America's counterpunch. Twin engines, heavy guns, and unmatched speed. But it was dangerous. One engine failure and the plane could spin into oblivion. Most pilots feared it. Bong mastered it. His first kill came on December 27, 1942. A Japanese fighter dove on an American bomber. Bong slipped behind it, waited until the Zero filled his gun sight, and fired a perfect burst. The enemy aircraft exploded in flame. It was over in seconds. From that moment, Bong became unstoppable. His calm precision made him lethal. He didn't waste bullets. He waited, studied, and then struck. His friends called him the Hunter. He never shouted or celebrated, just marked another victory on his aircraft with quiet pride. By 1943, Bong's legend had spread through every American airbase in the Pacific. He was known for flying low enough to wave at ground troops before pulling straight into the clouds. But more than his skill, it was his control that impressed everyone. He seemed untouchable, yet the war was taking its toll. Bong saw his friends disappear, one after another, lost in jungle crashes, burned in the sky, never found again. He started flying differently. No more reckless dives. No more showing off. Now every move had purpose. He once told a fellow pilot, "Patience kills faster than bullets." By mid-1944, Bong was the face of American air power. Newspapers called him the ace of aces. Children wrote him letters. Commanders sent him home to sell war bonds, to appear at parades. But Bong hated fame. He only wanted to fly. He returned to combat again and again until his record reached 40 aerial victories, more than any other American pilot before or since. At that point, the Army grounded him for good. They couldn't risk losing their hero. He came home at 24, quiet, modest, uncomfortable with the spotlight. Fame felt strange to him. He met a young woman named Marjorie Vatndal, fell in love, and married her in early 1945. For the first time, Richard Bong looked forward to a life without danger. But fate had other plans. After his marriage, Bong took a new assignment as a test pilot for the U.S. Army's first jet fighter, the P-80 Shooting Star. It was the future of aviation, sleek, fast, and unpredictable. On August 6, 1945, the same day the atomic bomb fell on Hiroshima, Bong climbed into the cockpit for a test flight near Los Angeles. Moments after takeoff, the jet's fuel pump malfunctioned. The plane lost power and spiraled toward the ground. Bong never had a chance to eject. He was killed instantly. That same day, newspapers carried two headlines: "Atomic Bomb Destroys Hiroshima," and "America's Ace of Aces Dead." One changed the world. The other broke America's heart. In Wisconsin, the small town of Poplar mourned its quiet hero. Farmers, veterans, and children lined the roads during his funeral. There were no grand speeches, just the sound of flags snapping in the wind and the silence of respect. Richard Bong's record, 40 confirmed aerial victories, remains unmatched. No pilot in U.S. history has surpassed him. He wasn't loud, he wasn't arrogant, and he didn't chase glory. He simply did what he had to do again and again until history had no choice but to remember him. He flew not for medals, but for mastery. Not for war, but for the feeling of flight itself. To this day, pilots still speak his name with quiet awe. Richard Ira Bong, the man who conquered the sky, not with fury, but with grace. He didn't just fly through the clouds. He lived there,